Well, Donald Trump is now trying to compete with current President Joe Biden, who joined striking car workers on the picket line Tuesday. Biden joined United Auto Workers in Detroit, making him the first sitting president to walk a picket line. Well, as I was saying, Trump is scheduled to also go see those auto workers in Detroit. Those campaign stops are not just to show support for the strikers from the two men, but also to try and get votes in an essential swing state. Our international affairs editor, Philip Turle, joins me on set to talk a bit more about all of this. Phil, this is the first time that Joe Biden's ever gone to a picket line. It's the first time a sitting president in recent memory has in the U.S. What's going on?
Right, well, this is totally unprecedented, Jeannie. You're correct. It's the first time that a sitting president has been to a picket line in the United States. It's taking place here in Detroit. Yesterday, Joe Biden was there in Wayne County. And today, Donald Trump is going to be going to the Clinton Township, one in the northeast of Detroit, the other one in the southwest of Detroit, so not in the same area. But they're meeting two different types of people. First of all, the reason for this is that both men are struggling in the polls. And if you look at the latest opinion polls in the US ahead of the elections coming up at the end of next year, they have had a lot of support over the time from unions, but it's changing slightly now. In union support back in 2020, it was Biden who was in the lead there with 62% and Trump a little bit behind on 37%. That was the opposite of what we saw beforehand. And if you think about Michigan, well, it is a swing state because back in 2020, the Democrats won it back from the Republicans with 50% to 47%, but it was the Republicans who won it under Donald Trump back in 2016, snatching it from the Democrats. So it is definitely an important area, and both men want to be seen there to be able to try to encourage as many voters as possible to vote for them in the next elections coming up next year. So that is really the situation as it is. But will it work for Biden? Well, the union, the United Auto Workers Union, the UAW, has not thrown its weight behind Joe Biden at the moment. That's why he's gone to this picket line to try to pick up support. They're a little bit wary. They have long memories about how Barack Obama said that he wanted to get away from using coal. And also Joe Biden has made it quite clear that he's in favor of more moving towards electric engines. And there's a lot of concern on the lines in Detroit that this means that there will be job losses as the industry will be moved slowly overseas to China and to Vietnam and to other countries, which will produce those engines in place of the internal combustion engines.
Right. So Biden's already walked the picket line. What can we expect from Donald Trump's visit today? Will he do the same?
Well, that is also something that is to look forward to. They're not on the same wavelength as far as these workers are concerned. Donald Trump is not in favor of the UAW. He's issued a statement saying that if the UAW doesn't support him and he doesn't win the election next year, then the auto workers are what he called toast. And the great truckers, he said, would also follow suit. So he's out there to try to salvage votes. He's putting himself forward as the man to save industry, to save jobs in the United States. It's important for Donald Trump, too, because he's pulling the limelight away from all his criminal investigations going on in New York at the same time. And there's also something else which is important for Donald Trump, and that is that he's not taking part in the Republican primary debate, the second one, which is also being held today, basically because he sees that as he's so far ahead in the opinion polls, he doesn't need to take part in that primary debate. It's better off for him to go and meet auto workers in Detroit to try to get those extra votes. So will it work or not? Well, both men are head-to-head in the opinion polls. The latest polls that have been published in the US put both men on 44% of voting opinions ahead of the elections, which take place at the end of next year. So I think that is why we've seen Joe Biden there. The problem for Biden is as follows. Many people are saying, well, if you're going to a picket line, as you did yesterday, are you in fact backing the demands of the strikers, i.e. they want increased salaries by 40%, they want a 42-hour working week? Why aren't you meeting with the heads of those industries to talk to them directly? How is that going to be perceived by the voters? And that is probably something that could cause problems for Joe Biden, even though he thinks being seen with the strikers is more positive for his image, maybe in the short term.